You don't like who you think you like, and that's why relationships feel so difficult today. It's not because people are more complicated, it's because something very basic has been taken from you. Your ability to recognize what you actually want. And the worst part, you don't even know that it's happening. This is not a relationship problem. What you feel as attraction is not coming from a neutral place. It has been shaped by what you've been exposed to, what is visible, what is rewarded. If you've ever felt drawn to someone only to realize later that they were completely wrong for you, or found yourself repeating the same patterns with different people, then pay attention. Because this is the moment most people misinterpret and spend years, decades, lifetimes correcting in the wrong direction. If you want to build relationships that actually feel real, relationships that are mutual, and that work, you need to learn how to tell the difference between real desire and compensation. Most of what you feel as attraction is not neutral. It doesn't arise in a vacuum. It has been shaped by what you've been exposed to, by what is visible, by what is presented to you as desirable. Over time, this creates a very narrow field, a range of people that feel right to want, a range that makes sense, that feels familiar, that feels recognizable. Without realizing it, you choose your mates from within this very narrow catalog. You're not drawn to people randomly, you're drawn to what you learn to see as desirable. And that range is much smaller than you think. You find yourself pulled towards certain people not because they're right for you, but because they fit what you were told to want. They fit an image, a pattern, an idea of what attraction is supposed to look like and feel like. But there's also more. And that's why desire and attraction are so complicated. On the one hand, modern society trains you to want very specific things. But on the other hand, there's also an inner mechanism at play. Every human being grows up with parts that were never fully expressed. Needs, desires, ways of being that didn't have a place, that your family and society deemed unacceptable, not valuable, productive, optimizable. But the problem is that those parts don't disappear. They get carried into your relationships, into your choice of partners. So you don't just randomly meet a person, you automatically project something onto them. A hope, a completion, a possibility, an unfulfilled desire. You meet someone, you feel something strong, something that feels real, but what you're feeling is not just them or the energy between you two, it's the intersection between what you've been taught to want and what in you has been left unexpressed. And that's why it's so confusing because it feels like it's coming from them, but it isn't. It's already in you. Once your attraction is shaped like this by both society and by your unexpressed desires, you don't just choose the wrong people once. And that's the tragic part. You repeat the same pattern. Different faces, different stories, but something about it feels familiar. You feel drawn, there's intensity, there's chemistry. It feels like something is happening, but very quickly things start to break down. You feel unseen, misunderstood, disconnected, or you find yourself doing too much, trying to make it work, trying to hold it together because something in you is trying to resolve what was never resolved before. You're using relationships to try to find expression to a real, genuine side of you. So the relationship becomes not a meeting of two people, but a space where both parties are trying to complete something. And quite frankly, you're lucky if it breaks apart quickly. Some people stayed married for decades inside this very arrangement. That's why relationships today are exhausting because we're not just relating, we're compensating for unexpressed desires within us while playing within the narrow field, the narrow catalog of what society deems acceptable. And over time, you start to lose trust in your own attraction. You think, why do I keep ending up here? Why do I feel so strongly for people who are so wrong for me? And the more it happens, the more confusing and unsettling it becomes. Because the feeling itself is real, there's no denying that. But what it's pointing to is not. So then the question becomes if your attraction can feel this real and still lead you in the wrong direction, what can you actually trust? The answer is not more thinking, more analysis, more strategies, because all of that happens on top of the original distortion. You don't fix your misdirected desire by trying to choose better. You fix it by restoring contact with what's alive inside of you. Contact with what you actually genuinely feel when there's no image to maintain, no role to perform, no idea of what this is supposed to be. Because real desire doesn't feel like urgency, it doesn't feel like anxiety, it doesn't feel like you're about to lose something. It feels simple. There's a sense of ease, of recognition, not intensity, but calm coherence. And that's very different from what most people are used to. Because when you've been shaped to associate attraction with intensity, calm can feel like nothing. But that calm is often where something real begins. So instead of asking, next time you meet someone, instead of asking, am I attracted to this person? You start asking, how do I actually feel in their presence? Not at the peak, not in the chemistry, but in the quiet moments. Do you feel more of yourself or less? More grounded or more unstable? More open or more contracted? Because real attraction, real desire doesn't pull you away from yourself, it brings you back. And that's the difference between something that only looks right and something that actually is right. Hey, thank you for watching. If what I'm sharing resonates with you, make sure you hit subscribe to be notified when new videos are released. And if you want to go deeper, I share longer reflections, frameworks, and updates in my newsletter. The link is below. This channel is a growing body of work about restoring aliveness in a world that quietly trains you to live at a distance from your own life.